Um, I'm only going to touch on this topic uh, again and rehash it just because it got brought up again. Um, I was watching Pink Book Lessons, and then I saw the thumbnail from Cynthia G. And, like, I swear, she's like the Ku Klux Klan over there. But I tried listening to the video and I tried following what she was saying, but she's all over the place, just scramble brain. The whole way she structures her argument, as I've said before a million times, Cynthia G's whole premise, trash bag, all that stuff, is Ray Ray and Pookie arguments across the board. Ray Ray and Pookie arguments, Ray Ray and Pookie arguments, Ray Ray and Pookie arguments. Um, but Speaking on this whole thing, first off, she got the guy that she said is speaking on black women and they're not being wifey material because they were raised to be strong and independent. The guy's not black, he's Dominican. And again, I've always talked about Cynthia G's confusion. She one drop rules people in and out at her own convenience. And I'm like, first off, as light as that dude is, I don't even know where she got off labeling him as a black man, but it's Dominican man, which actually makes the conversation even worse because this reinforces what black men like myself have been saying about how black women's reputation precedes them. See, it's all cool and it's sexy, and many of the women think it's sexy to run around being a strong and independent woman and all that nonsense. But now, again, now you have other groups speaking on it. And that's really how the whole conversation should have been approached. It's like, damn, now you got these other men, speaking on, it, especially when you got, the black women running around talking about how they're going to swirl and they're going to date out and da 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 da. And here you got this Hispanic man basically saying, African American women specifically are not wifey material. Cynthia G went into this whole thing about, black women and Latina women, and aren't there black Latinas and all that shit. No, he's talking about African American women who don't have any Spanish culture or Spanish heritage. Hell, even many of the brothers that are talking about not dealing with African American women and want to still date black women talk about going to other countries where there are black, women who have a different culture. It's one of the things that dives into why brothers get so excited when a woman jumps up and says that she's, of a different, background because she will have a different culture. She will not be raised on the strong, independent diva queen, earth mother, high priestess, hoteptress, all that nonsense, that we constantly see. Okay. Um, I've talked about this before with the raising of black boys to basically, how I want to say this, basically they're being raised, for other races of women. And this whole black and Spanish thing that goes on, like, Cynthia goes up there and, you get to, look, most people stick to their own group. There's a bunch of women in the comment section, that honestly, they sound like fake accounts, but I already know that there are Hispanic women. They got that mejoró la raza bullshit and limpiar la raza, which means like clean the race or better the race. All right. And so anti-blackness is rife throughout the Caribbean. It's rife throughout the Latino Hispanic community, all that shit. That's not a surprise. Then you get the people who were raised here, you know, the barrio and the ghetto, Spanish Harlem, East Harlem, all that stuff. They're right on top of each other, especially in the Northeast. Okay. You see black and Hispanic couples all over the place. Go to Camden, New Jersey, go to North Philly, go to, I don't know, freaking Perth Amboy, Rahway, Patterson. I mean, this shit goes on. It's all over the place. It goes on. And you see this when you see the kids. Go talk to any teacher that teaches in, let's just say, the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, tri-state area, and they'll tell you about all the mixed, racially ambiguous children in the classroom. So it goes on. And the thing is like, I don't know why black women do this. Like, they come to the internet, nobody wants you. Nobody's getting with you. Like, again, we already know that anti-blackness exists in the background, like just across the board. But they always come with that. But then I'm like, this flies in the face of all y'all complaints about these brothers going out here and getting with all these other races of women. Like, I just sit there and I listen to it. I'm like, you just got finished talking about how every time you turn a corner, brothers are dating out and marrying out and everything else. Then turn around, nobody wants you. I'm like, oh my God, here we like you can't even move the conversation forward and address the problem from the position in which they filed the complaint. Like, it's so like this is what I'm saying. Like, she's scramble brained. You know what I mean? I'm Mr. Consistency. I love consistency. Like, be philosophically consistent. Pick a position, pick a belief system, and run with it. Like, biracial people, racially ambiguous people, whatever. They're not in the black community. They're not black. Okay, fine. Bam. Only black people can be in Wakanda. Okay, fine. Then I want to hear you, one drop ruling people in and out the community later on. I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I mean? Oh, all black men, they want white women. They're out here dating outside the race. They're dating exoticals. Okay, fine. That's what you identified. I don't want to hear later on, nobody wants you, nobody's dating. I'm like, oh my God, and then go and find the racist people of some other group that say we hate black men and we don't date black men, and then throwing that up and being like, aha, like, that's dumb to do. Because I'm like, you just got finished talking about how all these brothers are dating outside the race. Like, every other video that Cynthia G does is about some black man dating outside the race. Like, it's just whatever. But anyway, getting on what the dude said, I already said this. Again, I saw the comments coming from the feminist Hispanic women, and there are feminist Hispanic women, and there are, diva queen Hispanic women and whatnot. Those are not the women that brothers are choosing and not the women that brothers are dating. This is why these things are generally said. Now, going back to what I said about young black men being raised for other races women, or being raised for, let's just go with the Hispanic women. Unfortunately, and let me speak to because Cynthia G brought up the whole, it's because the fathers are raising the Hispanic girls, and what was you say? The fathers are raising the Hispanic girls, and that's why, they are the way that they are. The Hispanic community has also a high rate of fatherless homes. Now, I don't know what the intimate details are of like how involved they are in the lives of their children. This has already been spoken about as well when it comes to black men, that just because black men are not in the home doesn't mean that they're not involved in the lives of their children in some way and whatnot. But to me, a lot of that stuff is just anecdotal. We do have a problem with fathers not being in the home. So I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, well, they were actually present. He's right around the corner. Like, I'm not going to do that. But the part that frustrates me, and this is the whole Cynthia's like Ray Ray and Pookie argument conversation. The part that frustrates me is that, again, we've already covered this numerous times about women choosing subordinate men because they want to call shots in their relationship, and also, getting with street dudes because that's what they like. That's what Cynthia G got with. That's what she slept with. That's who she has a baby by. So it's like, it's really irritating listening to it come from her when she went out there and got with Rob, who already had kids by like multiple women. I feel like a lot of her anger now is out of frustration of the whole situation. I don't know what Rob's doing. I don't know whether he's in the picture or not, but I'm saying I haven't, does he even have a YouTube channel? Like, I haven't heard or seen or nothing from them. But anyway, I'm just saying, I feel like a lot of it is just frustration over that. And a lot of these women, they come through, with this type of shit. Karazin, same thing, mad because, Maximi's father didn't marry her. Like I said, he went off and had one child, or the only child he had was with Karazin, and then Karazin went off and had 3 more, and then ultimately ended up divorcing, her white husband. So, like, what I mean? Like, who's the problem in this situation? You see what I'm saying? But anyway, what was I talking about? I was talking about the raising and whatnot. I'm just saying, In my opinion, a lot of black women make piss poor decisions when it comes to the guys that they have babies by. The majority of black women are not having babies by Carlton Banks. They're having babies by, whatever street dude that they're into at the time. That's what they like. They danger, high risk behavior, all that shit. And it doesn't pan out for them. And then they come on the line and they bitch, buyer's regret, all this other stuff, demanding that some simp beta male come through and rescue them and talk about how they have value and everything else. Like, I'm like, y'all made your bed, now lie in it. Like, ain't nobody coming to your rescue. But anyway, I'm saying, so now we get into these women being raised, or how the women are raised. I've already covered this, and let's talk about how the boys are being raised. Most of the time, the black boys are raised to be able to do things for themselves. Okay? You need to clean up after yourself. Ain't no woman gonna clean up after you. You need to wash the dishes yourself. Ain't no, what am I, your slave? That type of talk. We've all heard it. This is no secret to the vast majority of black men listening to this right now. Right? Our mothers told us, ain't nobody going to do nothing for us. So you need to clean up after yourself. You need to do this yourself. You need to do that. That is not what's taught in the Hispanic households. Okay. Not each and every one of them, but by and large. And that's the other thing. Like, sometimes it's pound for pound. You know what I mean? Like example, there's more gun violence in the black community than other communities. I can talk about white male mass shooters all I want, but there's more gun violence in the black community, so it's just like, so when certain things there's just these discrepancies between the white or the black community and the Hispanic community, the black community and the white community. I don't know why people get triggered and jump up and they're like, oh, that's not true. That's not true. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing for a lot of sisters is a lot of them, they take pride in these things because they think it's a selling point. And then when you get this Dominican guy that comes through and shows them that it's not a selling point, now they're mad. It's like, we try to tell you it wasn't a selling point. As black men, we try to tell you it's a selling point. Nobody likes that shit. And now that, black women have that reputation, and now it's, spreading and whatnot. Now it's like damage control. Now it's, oh, see, that's because the black man, that's the problem. No, y'all was selling strong and independence, and you go girl and black girl magic because y'all thought it was cute. And now you finding out that other groups of men don't find that shit cute, and they're like, nah, I'm either going to stick to my own or stay away from African American women in particular. And you want to see a real ugly conversation? Forget all the let's compare black, American women to other races of women. No, start comparing black American women to other black women around the world. You see, and then you're really going to find out, what time it is, because it ain't about your looks and it ain't about your color. It's about your culture. Okay. So anyway, getting on with it. I'm saying, and so what ends up happening in these dynamics, in these relationships, here you got this Hispanic woman and like the women that were writing in the comment section. Yeah, a lot of Hispanic women, they're geared towards catering to their man and all that. Hispanic culture is very machismo and whatnot. But here you got a Hispanic woman that she's doing all that stuff. And she may feel unappreciated. I've come across enough Hispanic women that feel unappreciated when they're with their Latino men because it's just, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. That's women's work. That's how a lot of Hispanic men operate. And then here you got a black guy comes across this Hispanic chick, and let's say she cooks for him and he goes and helps wash the dishes, or, he's doing stuff domestically, again, as many of us, were taught or encouraged to do by our black mothers. So the Hispanic chick, she's looking at the black dude like, oh, wow, like, oh, shit, like, he's helping around with the domestic stuff. He's helping around in the house or helping cleaning and everything. We don't trip. Right? Because again, we were raised in an environment with black women. Like, we don't really expect to get, that sort of treatment. Unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. Then when we end up encountering these other women, and then they do those sorts of things. We're like, oh wow. That's why you see that dude over there in Thailand talking about she's cleaning my nails and shit like that. We're not used to that shit at all. Okay. And the other thing is many of those women, see, when you want to really want to talk about patriarchy, there's a lot of, and this is the main reason why a lot of sisters don't want to date outside the group. Okay, because they don't like male leadership. It doesn't matter what color it comes in. They don't like male leadership. They don't like patriarchy. They don't like stress. That's why you saw the shit with Janet Jackson, her go off and get with the billionaire, and then that lasted all but freaking 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Who else? What other women like have hopped the fence and then they quickly come back and whatnot? The only woman that I've seen really be able to truly do it successful is Eve, and that's a street chick. But notice when it comes to Eve, you don't hear her running her mouth. When's the last time we even seen a tweet from Eve? Eve doesn't speak. Eve was like, oh, bam, went into the white man's patriarchy or whatever, and we ain't heard from her since. Kept her mouth shut. Meanwhile, you got, friggin' I saw O'Shea, the Duke Jackson. I saw his video of the little clip of Megan Good. And she's up there talking about what did she say? Something about her freedom, or something about being able to basically operate the way that she wants to do and be independent and all that other stuff. I'm like, that's why your marriage ain't work. You know what I mean? And then not only that, Cap actually, he pointed out something really profound about the whole Megan. He was like, look at the track record of the dudes that she dated previously. And then she goes off and gets with a pastor. He's like, come on. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, the whole thing with the compatibility issue, or it's not even an issue. It's the compatibility. Here you got a Hispanic woman that, her man expects this, and that, and this woman's work and blah, 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 blah. And then here you got a black man comes through and he doesn't mind helping her with the stuff. So now, she feels appreciated, especially if the black man's like, damn, she's doing all this, all my baby, she's this, that, and the third. So the Hispanic chick is liking that. She's liking the fact that what she's doing is seemingly finally being recognized. And then you got the black dude. He's like, man, she does this and that, man. And then in his mind, he's like, sisters don't do that shit. I wasn't raised, with the idea of sisters doing that shit. And then again, you have the fact that a lot of sisters, do black women of modern American society, do they even know how to cook? You know what I'm saying? Like, not all of them. I've had African American women cook for me, so let me not sit up in here and lie. You know what I'm saying? No, I've cooked for me, but I'm saying again, when you put it on a scale, what percentage of African American women out here do you think know how to cook a meal? A real good meal. How many of you think can cook, like do some Thanksgiving shit or something like that? Not many. They're too busy running around. They want to be a boss bitch. They want to be a diva, strong and independent, all this other nonsense. Again, just look at any panel of women that call in Kevin Samuels' show. Okay, these women have warped ideas of what men even want, what men are even interested in. And so, this is what you get. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good you think what you're selling is if what you're selling nobody wants. And black women, I don't know, a lot of them live in their own state of delusion where they continuously go out here thinking that, this is empowering and this is sexy, and just trying to speak their own self-worth into existence. They don't even look at the market. They don't even look at what men want. What men want to them is sexist or archaic or whatever. And then, whether they're dealing in the black community or dealing outside the black community, they're going to run into a brick wall. And that's what's happening. So they can come up with a million excuses, name call, piss, shit, and fart, kick over church benches, blame everything on black men and all that shit. I'm like, your independence and your pursuit of power and wanting to compete with men and all that ain't got nothing to do with us. They ain't got nothing to do with us. And how I know that has nothing to do with us, because again, when I had these conversations before, what sisters were saying? in ancient Africa, we were ruling and running shit in ancient. See, they were going all the way back. It's in our DNA. It's not in our DNA to be submissive. Go listen to that cat food video. You know what I'm saying? I run the family. I had the first say so and the last say so. You know what I'm saying? And mileage may vary. Granted, those women were, extreme. You know what I'm saying? 2 captains on a ship, all that nonsense. You know what I mean? Black women, they have liked the power that they've gotten from the state and the courts and the welfare state and all this other shit. They like that shit. You know what I mean? They want to sit there and pretend, we had to be in this position. No, bitch. Y'all liked it. Y'all like, even when you quote unquote had to be, even if the dude was an alcoholic, whatever it may be, you have women like again, as my favorite person loves to say, 2 things can be true at once. You got women out here, yeah, maybe the dude was a jerk off and he was bullshit and everything else. But again, as things have changed over time, you got a lot of women, they like that power. They like that independence. They like not having to answer to a man. The government's not in the black woman's day-to-day operations. The government's not in the black woman's day-to-day affairs. You see, they like that shit. And so they use the condition of the community or the condition of the black man as an excuse, you know what I'm saying, to shield the fact that they actually like what's going on. They like, what's happening. It's the same way. I'll give you an example on the male end of some shit. It's like how lames will complain about street dudes, but they like the fact that street dudes being thrust into the this realm of sexual objectification sometimes spills on them when it comes to other races of women. Sometimes it spills on them. There might be some fumes or some dust as the street dude bus blows by that lands on some lames, and there'll be some non-black women that jump up based off of street culture, just dumb shit like, oh my God, you look like Joel Santana. Like, bitch, I don't look like Joel Santana. Fuck are you talking about? Oh my God, you look like 50 Cent. Bitch, I don't look like 50 Cent. Like, fuck are you. You know what? Fuck it. Come get this dick. And lames will run with that. Even though they don't like street dudes, all that shit is detrimental to, our reputation as black men and da-da-da-da. But in the moment of them getting the benefits of getting some PUSSY, they're like, oh, okay, they accept it. And black women do the same thing when it comes to power and all that other shit. Being independent and not having to answer to no man. It's like, yeah, this is, I don't like this whole situation because there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not getting. Right? Because whatever, there's no patriarchy or the shit's broken or whatever. But by the same token, there's little bit of elements over here that I actually do like and I actually prefer. And I wish I could bring this into if the situation was actually fixed. And that's where you get into these women trying to create these sort of Franken niggas and these hybrid situation and the beta male provider. I'm going to go out there and have a baby by Pookie, and then I'm going to go and get a beta male provider to provide for me, trying to take 2 different men and mash them together. Now, as the truth be told, it's not even mashing them together because, it's like the Tupac with a degree doesn't really exist. So what they got to do is they got to take 2 different men at 2 different phases of their life and try to get them to value them, in the same way. But see, the thing is due to all these conversations, a lot of the guys that, are, whatever, educated, intelligent, have resources and everything, number one, they now know how these women really feel about them, which is there's no respect, there's no lust, there's no desire. It's just, you are here to serve us. And that's really what a lot of these women are mad about. They're really pissed off about the fact that brothers are not serving them. And when they go over there and they're off with other races of women, again, that's one less black man that they have access to and access to his resources, you see. And so, that's where a lot of the frustration comes in. And that's what you hear when hear Cynthia G and her followers, her minions and whatnot. That's what you hear when you listen to that shit. Like I said, for her to make this man a black man when he's Dominican, I'm like, I'm like, you just see, she don't even do her research. I'm like, you fucked up. She just fucked up, and making money on it and monetizing it. Fucked up. You know, and I'm trying to think what else is there to say, just to say about this. Yeah, like I said, there's feminist Hispanic women, and we don't do this and we don't do that. I can assure you, black men that are out here trying to run away from the matriarchal black community and the gynocracy and all these bad attitudes and everything else. We are not running to Latinas with attitudes. I don't know how many times we have to say that when it comes to when we do choose to hop the fence. We're not running to white women with attitudes. We're not running to, white women with, multiple babies. I know Cynthia G wants to run out there. She wants to grab the, just the dustiest of dudes. It's either a Dusty or a Ray Ray Pookie argument, and that is her poster child for black men, and then she runs with it. She doesn't want to talk about the dudes that are established. She doesn't want to talk about the guys, that again, you see out here. She don't want to talk about that. She wants to talk about whoever's in Mobile, Alabama, at Walmart at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's the basis, of her argument. She's not, and then again, the one time that she wants to bring up a professional black man, she brings up the anesthetist in Baltimore that killed, his baby mama and his ex-wife. Like, again, as though we have this pandemic or epidemic of marauding anesthetists running around killing black women. And that's another thing that I noticed about Cynthia G. Like, it's like you can't win with the shit. Like, it goes from, what did I say? I texted this to, I was joking to Cap. Where did I put this shit? Let me see if I can find it. I was joking about freaking the hole in the ozone layer, because everything is just blamed on black men. I don't know if I can find it. Yeah. So this is what I said. I said, with the mixed chick who got with the Pookie and had his baby, you don't take care of your kids. Then when a black man does, I bet he wouldn't do that for a black woman. Then when it's a non-black woman, see, he treats them the same as black women. Only when negative, though. So, like, it's like the parameters change all the time. I don't know, that probably wasn't clear to you all because I'm like reading it from text, but I'm saying the parameters change all the time. It's black men don't want to date black women. Okay. Then when a black man is dating a black woman, then, the argument will be that he's abusing her and not treating her right. Then it'll be, oh, he'll, I bet he'll treat non-black women better. Then there'll be a case of a black man not treating a non-black woman better, and then the argument will be, see, they're out there treating non-black women just as bad as they treat black women. See, that's why nobody should date these men. Like, you can't win. You just can't win. So at the end of the day, according to the world of Cynthia G, there are no good black men. We're all devils and all that other shit, and that's just what it is. And none of this is really a big deal. Women like this are toxic. Leave them alone. Don't deal with them. Let them die in their, bitterness. And that's all there is to it. Plain and simple. She got a baby. She had it with a dude that already had 4 kids. She's fucked. Okay. Her value is on the floor, and that's just what it is. And, she probably knows it, but that's just the way that it is. She was a grown ass woman when she decided to go out and have that baby. So again, these are women making adult decisions, but they want to play like they're little children and they're victims to the shit. Like my man tells me all the time. He's like, women are grown children, man. He's like, I keep telling you, they're grown children. You keep trying to hold them accountable. You keep trying to call them out. He's like, but they're grown children. and that's just how you have to treat them. And I just that just does not sit well with me, because there are women out here who I do respect and whatnot, but the majority of women, they're like scatterbrained. You know what I'm saying? Like they catch attitudes and just all type of nonsense when they're not making sense, and then they make these appeals to emotion and shit like that, and ad hominems and name calling and shaming and everything else. And I'm like, chick, you're so off base from the facts or reality. It's not even funny. And people actually give credence to that because they're women. Like all a woman's got to do is start crying, and then all of a sudden, it's like, what did you do to her? I didn't do anything to her. I just stated the facts. So what the fuck? You're mean. Okay, I'm mean. Oh, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, I just stated the facts. So, I mean, this is known information. Like, Cynthia G and any of these other women talking about the shit. Like, again, here you got a Dominican man saying this shit. I'm like, it's not a good look. I'm like, that shit is known. It's known. And again, there's many things that could be said about black men that is known, our reputation of not taking care of our kids due to the fact that we have so many sisters out here that like street culture and dusties and have babies by dusties. You know what I mean? Like it just got to a point where like I'll send Cap a Cynthia G video, or he'll send me some, and it's just like these are Ray Ray and Pookie arguments. Like you started recognizing the pattern. I'm like, really, for real? Like this is an EL complaint, like for real. Again, these women don't want that. They don't want those guys. They don't want structure. And this is the whole issue with why, even when it comes to them swirling out and dating out and whatnot, the majority of them are not going to be able to, because again, they don't like structure. They have the wrong orientation. I cannot emphasize that enough, that too many African American women have the wrong orientation. And some of them are smart enough to know, like, they can't take that shit over the fence. They to them, they do better off trying to shame black men with a whole bunch of stuff that they can shame black men with, that they can't shame other races of men with. Can't shame other races of men with original Earth Mother or Hoteptress priestess, like, and just fabricating, how shit was in ancient Africa. That's just not going to work on a white man. You know what I mean? But in the black community, you get all these Hotep looking out their third eye type of brothers, and people talking about consciousness and shit like that. And so, you get these manipulators of both genders that throw that shit around, and people feel, they feel compelled, to subscribe to that shit, sort of shit. And it's bullshit. But, I don't really have much else to say about it. I'm not all that excited about it, because, again, we know what we know. We know that there is a behavioral problem with African American women. There is a belief system problem with African American women. There is a wrong orientation problem with African American women. And they can talk about Ray Ray and Pookie and Dusties and make dusty arguments. So again, I don't co-sign any of the stuff that, those brothers do. I'm still trying to figure out, why are you continuing to have their babies? Cynthia G jumps up and says, stop birthing black boys. But this is after the fact, after she decided to go off and have a child with somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even follow through on her own belief system. She don't even follow through with her own shit. You know what I mean? You're listening to a hypocrite. And you got all these women sitting around co-signing a hypocrite like this is meaningful dialogue. It's not. So it's irritating to listen to, if anything. Like, it's an irritation for me. But other than that, like, I already know, like, the world is going to go on. Dudes already know what it is. Men are already having our conversations. Like, you're not going to gaslight us on this. This is something that was an issue before we even came to the internet. And especially now it's so funny. It's like, again, going back to what Cap used to say, it's like, nah, let them talk. Let them talk. They will hang themselves every time. And the more they talk, the more you start hearing, oh, I'm like, oh, that sounds like some, I don't like patriarchy to me. Oh, that sounds like, I think I'm supposed to run shit to me. Oh, that sounds like, you believe that, shit's supposed to be on some role reverse shit, and that you're supposed to, that men are supposed to be the worker bees, and you're supposed to be guiding things with your, innate female wisdom. I'm like, see, I'm like, that chick is not wifey material. That is the best defense that any men have these days. It's just to avoid. You start seeing red flags in these chicks, avoid. They're going to try to make it seem like you owe them because you're a black man and they're a black woman and we went through slavery together and all this. I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to change the mindset of these women who think like that. It's unfortunate, but you're not going to be able to. And if you try to, you're wasting your time. Move on to the next one. I make these videos to try to help some of you all be able to identify this stuff and avoid it. Okay, that doesn't mean that you got to run around and you got to hate black women and you're just, like you hate them like you want to do something to them. No, just avoid. Avoid. It's like when you go to the pound, you don't freaking, the dog that's freaking barking and, as you walk past the cage, that's probably not the one you want to take home. You know what I mean? You want to take the one that looks friendly and is wagging its tail. That's the one you take home. Don't take the one that's barking at you when you walk past the cage at the pound. Leave that one in the cage. And if they end up euthanizing it, oh well. But to bring that into your home, to bring that into your sanctum of peace, no. So like I said, these women said they're going to swirl it up. Hey, give it 10 years of all this swirl talk or whatever. Let them, because all they're doing is claiming, we're loyal and we've been hanging around and supporting it. Yes, supporting Dusties. The Dusties that you all have been attracted to and think are so goddamn sexy and having babies by. Like I said, my statement before, that 4-to-1 shit. Most of these women are sharing men, and they're sharing the same men that they find attractive. Pookie's out there, he's sleeping with, basically, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 women. He's running through bitches. Carlton, Steve Urkel, whatever you want to call him, the lame, he's not running through bitches like that. Plain and simple, he's not. So these women have more experience with Pookie and everything. So when you really listen to the shit, they're complaining about the same dude. You got women, they got women who know each other, who share, who literally have children that are related to each other because they were sharing the same dude. All you got to do is ask these women, I wish we had like tribunals in the black community. Bring your baby daddy to court. We will assess this. And then when they bring him to court, you sitting there looking at the dude like, really? It's like, you ever listen to Future Talk? You ever listen to Future Talk in an interview? You know what I mean? And then you sitting there. I remember the first time I heard Future Talk. And then, I'm like, and this is Sierra's baby dad. I'm like, for real, Sierra? I'm like, because before I had like a higher idea of Sierra. Like she was kind of like up there with like, and even like Whitney Houston, which is another mistake I made. I was going off of, appearance. I was like, these are classy, sophisticated black women. Didn't know Whitney Houston was running around, getting high off some nose candy. And then Sierra, I didn't know that she was on some ratchet shit. I mean, I should have listened to the lyrics of Can't Leave Him Alone and literally took that literally. You know what I mean? But when I saw that interview with Future and he was just up there just mumbling, I was like, for real, Sierra, like for real, like this is what moved you. You see? And again, she's still ratchet. Russell up there being a beta, she up there dancing topless and shit and fucking. I'm like, and he's filming the shit. I'm like, you do realize that this is the mother of your children now, right? This isn't just the mother of Future's children. You know what I mean? And this is where the crazy part is. This is where street dudes will make a complete ass of lames. Because many of these street dudes, like when Future jumps up and he says she's for the streets, you know what I mean? Like she's for the streets, which I don't know why you would have a baby by a woman that's for the streets, but again, that's street nigga code. That's how street niggas roll. That's how street niggas operate. I don't know what to say about that. You know what I mean? But when lames sit there and they try to, when a street dude says she's for the street, and the lame niggas trying to sit there, but I love her, and she's a woman of God, and you trying to, play Captain Save 'em, you gonna get burned. You gonna get burned. When these street dudes say she's for the streets, 9 times out of 10 they are 100% accurate, and you need to heed what is being said. Because all you're going to do is be made a fool out of. You can go off, get with these women, and be a sucker. They don't really have respect for you. They have respect for what you can do for them, but they don't really have respect for you. And I don't even like to use the word respect. She has respect for what you can do for her. No, she has a need for what you can do for her. But that doesn't mean that she respects you or anything that you're actually doing. So I mean, dudes just have to recognize that this is what it is at this point. And one of the things that Cynthia said, she was like, we don't compare, black men to other. Yes, y'all do. What the fuck are y'all talking about? Every day, y'all don't build like other men. Y'all don't build. But see, the thing is it's not even the whole thing with the building. First off, I'm like, you don't even get what men who could build. You don't get what men who could teach their sons how to build. And then on top of that, you already know that men who build are going to control what they build. And that's one of the main things that sisters don't like. That's why they don't go out there and, so eagerly trying to get with other races of men. What they try to do is they try to find these sort of, beta non-black men and then call it good and then say he's a part of the greater, white supremacist patriarchal infrastructure when he's really not. He's actually a loser in the white male infrastructure. But they're not going to, they're going to try to pass him off like, he's kicking ass because, he's got connections into that dominant structure. But that does not mean that he's a mover and a shaker within that structure. You see, but that's the one that they want to get. The one that they can, try to manipulate and because he's a beta. They do not want the true alpha white male or any other, group of men because, again, they're so used to being independent. They don't even know how to function within a proper patriarchal structure. People think, oh, well, if they get with other races of men, it'll be different. No, it will not be different. They will fuck it up. Like Cap used to say, worst gold diggers in the world because they can't keep their attitudes in check long enough to get to the gold most of the time. Obviously, you have your exceptions like Eve and whatnot, but you got a lot of women out here that they're just as stupid and foolish as Jada Pinkett. I'm like, you with a man making somewhat $500 million and this is how you acting for real? So I mean, this is what it is, people. The comparisons, the women, they get irritated by it. They're going to use it as ammunition. Initially, I think a lot of that was done. I participated in that myself because I thought, it's like, look, you got to have, how do I want to say this? You got to have, a baseline. You got to have a baseline of, what's going on out here. I'm recognizing there's something wrong with you. I'm saying this is what's going on over here. What's up with you? And you would think that sisters would be like, damn, okay. But no, they don't. They don't. And I'm so tired of all these mental games with black women, these mental gymnastics, with sisters. I'm so tired of it because they're so intellectually dishonest. And that's why I need to post that video about the what I had to say about Kim, for Harriet. If black women actually told people the truth about what they really wanted, they have nowhere to go. Dudes would just walk, no shame. They would just walk because what they're offering up, the deal that they're offering up, is a shitty deal. It's a shitty deal. I'll give you a primary example. It's like Kerosene. Look at me, I'm in the vineyards. Look at me, my white husband, he's done this for me, and that's why you ladies need to get a white man because he's done all of this for me, and I'm in the suburbs, and I'm living a comfortable. I'm not living in trash like how most black men would have you living, right? This is what she says, right? Give me one video that Kerosene has ever done where she showcased what she has done for her husband. Preparing his favorite meal. Back rubs. Shoulder rubs. I've seen them pass in the background of the computer screen. You know what I mean? What did Kerosene do besides, birth 3 children? What did she do for that man? Ask yourself that. One video. Just give me one video. This man married a woman that already had a child by a black man and then had 3 more children with her. Then they had her in the suburbs, stay-at-home mom, which is what allowed her to do all the shit that she was doing on the video. And basically all we got to see is what? Her in Toronto and asking other men, not her husband, about what they love about black women. She doing all that, but I'm like, damn, can we get an interview with your husband, or just saying that, fuck it, not even having her husband in the video, just hey, I did this for my husband because he's just so awesome. Nah, I wear this outfit for my husband because he just loves it. No, we didn't get any of that. It's all about selfish me, what I get, me. And I got a white man, and the white man is doing all this for me. Na boo boo black man. Just like that shit still blows my mind. Married a white man, and spent the last decade sitting around online in front of the computer screen talking about black men. When you had 3 kids by a white man. 3 kids that you gotta raise, or 4, but just sitting around, just still talking about black men, and then goes off and then I'm with a black man and he's got $7 million or whatever the heck it is. I don't know what her situation is. First it was the white man, and then he's running around throwing the N-word around, and then freaking black again. Last I heard, it's all over the place. Like I said. Friggin' Nelly swirling. Go ahead, get the book. It's in the book. Nelly chasing her around the bedroom naked. That was the fantasy. Not Chad, not Brad Pitt, not George Clooney. You know what I'm saying? Not Aquaman, not Jason Momoa. You know what I mean? Not Captain America, not Thor. No, Nelly chasing her around the bedroom naked. And then she had another piece where she talked about 50 Cent. Again, street niggas. These street dudes. So, again, when you hear these women complain and they want to ray and poop, I'm like, no, you're complaining. It goes back to what David Banner said. He said that shit like 12 years ago. He was like, you all love to complain about the men that you love to date. That's what y'all love to complain about. The men that you love to date. And that's facts. That's hard facts. But yeah. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, what has happened in the black community, relationships, all that shit, but I don't know. I think to a great degree it's too far gone. I don't really see a whole bunch of women changing. I see a whole bunch of women playing the victim. We talk about black men that need to change. Majority of their issues are tied to money and economics, and that's another thing. That's another thing. Like Cynthia always running around talking about dudes being broke, and I'm like, you got all these guys out here that are in jail for what? Narcotics trade. And then black women try to come online and they try to pretend like they don't participate in that shit. They're not stashing the nigga's gun. They're not bagging up the drugs for the dude. They're not riding around dropping off packages in his, a Dodge Charger with the 22-inch rims. You know what I mean? Like, They try to pretend like they don't participate in this shit. Like I said, when a nigga is buying them all type of goofy shit, he's the shit. Soon as he gets locked up, he ain't shit. And then these women claim loyalty. There ain't no loyalty. First off, ain't no loyalty when it comes to the street dudes when you really look at it, but they'll claim loyalty. But their loyalty, even when it is to the street dude, it most certainly isn't to the EL. And they like to conflate that. This is a whole bunch of conflation. There's nothing worse than people intentionally conflating arguments to try to win an argument. It's like when women come to you and, they're talking about niggas in jail. It's like, bitch, I ain't never been to jail. Talking about men with kids out of well, I don't have any kids. That's a pointless conversation to have when people want to conflate like that. It's like, and then you were out here breaking women's hearts and all this other shit and getting women pregnant. What do you mean? Like, during what time? Like what the 4 years I was in undergrad? Like when was this going on? When was I knocking over liquor stores? On my way to chemistry? Like when was this going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway. But that's all I got for y'all today. That's my video. SWP out.